It's election season, with Ontario voters likely going to the polls any day now and a federal election happening not far behind. There's never been a better time for all political parties to get on the same page about an important topic. I believe every party should commit to putting food banks out of business, because doing so would fix so many other problems we face and make life more affordable for everyone. Plus, it has the added benefit of being a political winner. Let's start with the obvious. I think we can all agree that the skyrocketing use of food banks in Canada is shameful. It's a national embarrassment in a country as wealthy as Canada that millions of people are forced to use a food bank. While food banks have come to fill a gap in our society and our social safety net, they were never designed to be permanent. The first food banks appeared in the early 1980s in Alberta to help people affected by an oil patch recession. This stopgap measure didn't go away, though. Governments of all stripes at all levels have come to rely on them to help people that should be helped through other programs. Today, there are over 61,000 community food programs and 800 registered food banks across Canada. They do incredible work, but they are being asked to do much more with much less. They're breaking, unable to keep up with demand with little to no government funding. One of my favorite quotes is from Edwards Deming, who said, "Every system is perfectly designed to get the results it does." Our system is working as it was designed. Sadly, food banks are part of this system. The system is broken. Over 2 million people used a food bank in 2023, with 1/3 of them being children. In Toronto, there were 3.5 million food bank visits, up 273%. In Mississauga, 56,000 people used a food bank 421,000 times, which is an 80% increase from the year before. The situation is similar in every other big city in Canada. Facts tell, but stories sell. This is a human tragedy. These are our neighbors and friends. They are people with jobs and degrees who, despite doing everything asked of them and working hard, can't make ends meet. Imagine having to use a food bank yourself. How would you feel? So where do we go from here? Food banks are the result of choices we make at the ballot box and through the policies we support. Like any choice, we can make a different one. We can put food banks out of business if we choose to do so. Food Banks Canada is actually asking for this to happen, and I say we should oblige them. Here are some ways we can do this. Firstly, we need to make disability supports livable. 1 in 6 people with a disability live in poverty in Ontario. Disability support only provides $1,300 a month or $16,000 a year. The poverty line in Ontario is just over $27,000, and every dollar over $1,000 made by a person on ODSP is clawed back. The math doesn't add up. We need to increase ODSP amounts now so people with a disability can live in dignity and make ends meet. This would reduce food bank use overnight. Secondly, the Canadian disability benefit needs to be increased from the paltry $200 it is today. As Campaign 2000 points out in their 2024 Disability Report Card, Canada is getting a failing grade. Like ODSP, we need to do much more. Again, this would reduce reliance on food banks. Thirdly, we have to address the housing crisis head on. Housing is the silver bullet. It's the great equalizer that allows people to start their lives both socially and economically. With home prices and rent payments climbing out of the reach of many, the poverty crisis just continues to grow. Governments at all levels and all political stripes need to get serious about housing and put in place policies to address supply just as much as demand. We need a wartime housing effort with all governments working together. They need to incentivize builders to develop affordable housing, and they need to get back into the public housing game in a real way. Fun fact, 46% of food bank users in Hamilton said that if it wasn't for the food bank, they'd lose their home. Housing is a top issue for Canadians, the majority of whom support more investments to make housing affordable. Fourth, along with addressing housing, we need to keep investing in local and rapid transit. Owning a car costs on average $16,000 per year. This can't be the price of entry into society. Investing in transit is not only a way to create a level playing field, it also creates jobs, reduces traffic and congestion, tackles climate change, and supports the building of more housing. The vast majority of Canadians support investments in public housing. According to a McGill study, 97% of Canadians believe transit is an essential service in their region. All political parties need to look at their transit investment plans and then commit to more. Transit's a political winner. 5. Another way to put food banks out of business is to invest in means-tested universal basic income. Think of it as a top-up for those who can't make ends meet, to allow them to engage economically and socially in society. The idea of a UBI has been around for a very long time and has been tried with some success in other countries and has been presented to our Parliament here in Canada. There have also been pilots in Ontario and Manitoba in past years. The best news for political parties? It was championed by a Conservative Senator, Hugh Segal, and is now supported by some federal Liberal leadership candidates. Economic analysis shows that if a UBI is done properly, it can drive $2 of economic activity for every $1 invested. That's a good investment. The Canadian Emergency Relief Benefit, better known as CERB, was a form of UBI, which helped 1/4 of Canadians get through the pandemic. We've done it before, and we can do it again. UBI is a winner. Lastly, just reduce the cost of food. This is easier said than done, I know, but it's critical. It's hard to watch the cost of food rise and grocers make record profits while food bank use rises even higher. The two are directly correlated. This is one of the biggest issues facing Canadians today, and if addressed properly, would be a big win for political parties and for food banks. Canadians, by and large, are predisposed to support these policies. Separately, they are the right thing to do, but won't wow anyone. But put together, under the banner of putting food banks out of business, they become powerful. They become attention-grabbing and part of a bigger plan to make life better and more affordable for everyone, with the added benefit of reducing and eliminating food bank use. I challenge every political party to make putting food banks out of business a policy plank in their platforms. If you want to tackle crime, poverty, homelessness, encampments, and so many other challenges we face, this policy platform is a good way to start. It's the right thing to do, yes, but it's also just good politics. Putting food banks out of business is good for the political bottom line. And even if you support this policy, our food banks still need help. So consider donating today. Thank you, and be sure to remember what I've said when you're in the voting booth.